Good morning, I'm the Reverend Steve Page from St. Patrick's Anglican Church, and you're listening to the daily devotional sponsored by the Hudson Bay Ministerial. This month, I'm drawing images of Christian faith and spirituality from the wonderful and sometimes a little weird world of sports. Let's talk some more hockey today. So I'll put on my hockey jersey, kind of like a thinking cap. Now, I know it's a little early still for the NHL playoffs, but let me take you back to the Stanley Cup Finals of 1996. Can you remember who played for the Cup that year, 1996? The Colorado Avalanche were at the height of their dominant years, and they played in the finals. They met the Florida Panthers and their hordes of rat-throwing fans. Now, the Avalanche took the first 3 games, and they were looking for a sweep in Game 4, which was played in Florida. And the first period of Game 4 was a close-fought defensive battle. The Avalanche had Patrick Roy in net, and he stopped all 10 shots for Colorado, while Florida's goalie, John Van Beesbrook, he stoned the Avs at the other end, and so after one period it was 0-0. Now Florida really poured it on in the second period, controlling the game more often than not, but they just could not put the puck past Roy, and after 2 periods it was still tied 0-0. So as the third period wore on, the tension built and built. And the way these defenses were playing, a single goal was all it was going to take. A bad bounce, a deflection, anything could hand the cup to the Avalanche or send the series back to Colorado for Game 5. But when the buzzer sounded, neither team had scored. Both goalies had shut out the opponents for 60 minutes. Well, playoff hockey ties always lead to sudden death overtime, and one of the most exciting situations in any sport, really. And so after a break, both teams skated out for the nail-biting overtime period. But after another 20 minutes of hockey, the score was still 0-0. Well, a second overtime started. Maybe Colorado was wearing down because Florida peppered Patrick Roy with 18 shots in overtime number 2. But again, neither team could score. 0-0 after 100 minutes of hockey. Well, something had to give, and finally, 4.5 minutes into the third overtime, Colorado's Uwe Krupp netted the Stanley Cup winning goal. The clincher finished 1-0 for the Avalanche. And while both goalies played an amazing game, Patrick Roy stood out. He shut out the Panthers through an entire 5+ periods of play. He blocked all 63 shots they took. It was an incredible effort. He was an incredible defender of the net that night. Now, the Bible often portrays God as a defender in our lives. I think of Psalm 18, where the poet writes, "The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer, in whom I take refuge, my shield, the horn of my salvation, my stronghold." Well, that's just one verse, but this psalm is saturated with images of God as one who defends the weak, the helpless, the faithful. And there are many others in the Bible that also talk about God as a defender. Imagine God as a fortress, a stronghold, or a shield. These are pictures of God as a reliable and safe place to hide in or hide behind when life is throwing curveballs or trying to swamp us or toss us about. As when Jesus spoke and stilled the storm in Luke chapter 8, so God is there for us when things go wrong. When we get bad health news about us or a loved one, when we're thrown out of work, when a friend betrays our trust, when the rumor mill gets the story all wrong and makes us look bad. In the midst of it all, God is there, ready to defend us if we're willing to enter God's fortress. Now, some of that imagery in that verse is also offensive, not just defensive. God is my deliverer, the horn of my salvation. These are pictures of God being more than just a refuge and a defender, but playing an active role in bringing about justice for the poor, for the oppressed, and the needy. God is both our great defender, even better at defending than Patrick Roy was, and God is also on our side to deliver and save. Thank God today for His presence in your life, and turn to Him when life threatens to bowl you over. For St. Patrick's Church, I'm Steve Page.